Hi viewers and welcome to the channel, and today we're looking at circular text, but not circular text from a sketch. We're looking at circular text from a shape string. This means that it's going to be parametric, and we're going to show you how to create circular text around here. This is actually a planar face, so I'm looking at creating circular text on planar faces and also on a curved face as well. What this allows us to do is come into the shape string and come down to the text, and we can change this text to whatever we want and click off, and that will get added to there and will flow around this ring. So this is quite a quick video. I hope it's answered some of the questions that have come up, and let's have a look at this technique. If you like what you're seeing, please subscribe to the site. I also have a Ko-Fi or a coffee site that you can donate to if you so desire, and that's at ko-fi.com/MANG0. I also run a Patreon where you can subscribe and get extra content, and that's at www.patreon.com/MangoJellySolutions. Any money that's kindly donated will be used to expand the channel. So for this tutorial we need the Curves Workbench installed, which is over on the Tools add-on manager, and in here we'll be able to install the Curves Workbench. So if I come down to the Curves Workbench, you can see in here I've already got it installed. So just click on that and install it. You may need to restart FreeCAD if you haven't got it installed. So for this, we're going to come over to SketchUp. What I want to do is create text around a circle, well actually inside a ring. So if I take a new sketch and place a circle within here, like so, let's put a couple of circles in here. So I want to place the text in here. Put some dimensions on here just to make sure we've got this to the right scale. And we'll go diameter of 150 millimeters, and this one we'll do at about 100. So I've got this here. If I close that and add, say, an extrude on here, this is a planar face. As you can see, it's a planar face at the moment, because once I add the extrude, just say about 3mm extrude, then I want to place text in this circle. And I also want to keep it parametric because I want to go back and change it as well. If I went into the Curves Workbench and used the Sketch on Surface, so this one here, map a sketch on a surface, if I click that and click that sketch, I do get a sketch in here, map sketch surface, but I run into some issues. So if I hide the extrude and have a look at this, you can see I've got this geometry in here which just doesn't make sense. It has construction geometry of two circles where this should be basically a rectangle. So this doesn't get round the problems with actually creating this text in a circle. If I remove these, hit delete, and put the standard construction geometry of a rectangle and highlight those and change those to toggles construction mode, so those have gone blue now, and let's say I put a slot, for instance, in here, like so. That slot should go all the way around the geometry, but you can see it hasn't. If I bring back the extrude, it's deformed. So this only works on curved surfaces, not a planar face. It's actually quite simple to get around that to actually create the curved surface on here. I'm going to delete that sketch on surface, and come back to the extrude. Just going to hide the extrude and bring back the sketch. What I need to do is either sweep a profile around here or make a revolve around here. If this wasn't a ring like this, I would use a sweep with a profile. Say if it was a ring that was in the shape of a slot, then I'll use the sweep profile along there. To do that with this ring, we're going to come around to the front and we can create a sketch from this side. So come up to the sketcher, New sketch, looking along the XZ plane, this one here. Okay, so now we've sectioned right through the middle of this. So it's important to create this geometry around the center point. If I use the section view, this will halve the sketch through the center from where the sketch I'm sketching upon is. So we've got this half a ring here. Now I can import some geometry. So I want to import this point, and if we hover over this point here, I can import that as well. So we've got those two. Then to cheat, to get this curve on surface to work, so I've come around to the front so I can see those points there. We use a simple arc, endpoint and rim point, and we connect up these 2 points and just make this arc almost flat. So as long as it's an arc, we can deal with this. Let's come in a bit more, hit escape, and I can pull this down a bit. If I can find the points, you can see the points right down here, so I can pull this down and flatten this out. So that will do. It's just enough to make a profile that I can sweep around here, or even revolve. Let's use a revolve for this one. So I'm just going to hide this sketch from the original extrude, and I've got this. Let's come over to the part workbench and click that profile, click that sketch. Come up to part, revolve. We're going to be revolving around the Z-axis, so the Z-axis goes through the center. Let me view, and the axis cross is grayed out, so let's bring that in. View, toggle axis cross, and we can see our axis is over here. Now we click that sketch, and this time let's use the revolve from the toolbar, this revolve here. We're going along the Z direction, along the Z, that's where it's going to be revolving around, and hit OK. Now we've got basically a surface. It's not solid, it's a surface that we can use for our sketching. We've still got the original extrude, but we're going to place the shape string around here. So we need a shape string. Let's come over to the draft workbench. Now you may be thinking, if you've got knowledge of curves workbench, that we'll use a shape string and we'll convert that to a sketch, but we don't need to. To keep it parametric, we won't need to do that. Come to drafting and shape from text, and we'll add some text in here. Now where should we put it? Doesn't matter where we put it, we just need to put it somewhere. Let's put it over here. Let's write something in here. This is a circle of text. Give it font, and now I'm on Unix, well Linux, so I'm going to come down to the root and come over to user, shared, and come down to the font directory. I want TrueType fonts, and let's pick the go-to one that I normally use, which is Deja Vu Bold. I'm going to hit OK. I get my text over here. So my text is sitting over here, which is spelt wrong, but let's add an E in here. So this is what I want to do. I want to update this and have it around this circle, but allow for any changes. So how do I get this text onto this curve, this surface here? Can come back over to the curves workbench. Now I've still got the gridding on, but I'm going to select this surface, so the revolve. Now I can do the sketch on the surface, this icon here, or come up to surfaces, sketch on the surface. We create a new item in our tree view. We come in and we see the mapped sketch here. I'm going to press the spacebar so we see it. We can't see it at the moment because we've got construction geometry in here. So I'll double click this. We now see that we well, we have this, which is no good to us. So I'm just going to highlight that, box select that, just by clicking and dragging over the top of that and hit delete. We're going to move over to here and create some construction geometry with the rectangle. So I'm going to use the rectangle and I'm going to bring this around over this text. Now I'm going to have to alter the size of this text at some point. So this sits over here. Hit escape. I'm going to box select by clicking and dragging over the top. So I've selected all those lines and I'm going to convert them to construction geometry or sketch geometries, toggle construction geometry. That's gone blue. I'm going to hit close. So what's happened is that it hasn't mapped there just yet, but you can see that the text is sitting here. We can't see the construction geometry. What I like to do, if I come back into that map sketch on the sketch on surface, to get an idea of how this is going to flow around this object, I'm going to use a couple of lines and I'm not going to convert them to construction geometry. So I'm going to place them in here and we'll attach them to the side. So hover over this side, I've got the auto constraints on and constrain. And I've missed that one, so we just constrain over the other side. Oh no, that's connected. And we just connect this one to this one with a point on line constraint. So we have those in there. If I hit close, what you'll see is this is going around here, but the text isn't on here. So I need to get the length of this outer ring, this outer circle, into the sketch. Now the easiest way to do that is come up to the toolbar. You can see this little eye here, or on MISC, Geom Info. Click that. That means any line we select. So this line here, it will give us a length. I want to select the outer line of the circle and take the length 471.239. Come into the map sketch and set this length here. 471.239. We can see that's added that in there. Let's hit close. Let me just check that, see if I got it right. 471.239. Now we get an idea of how that text is going to sit around this. Because that text is within these two tram lines, I can come into the sketch on surface, and instead of creating a sketch in there, I can come down to this extra object, this one here, extra objects. If I click on here, we get the three dots, click on that, and then select our shape string and hit OK. Now when I click off, what will happen is that, just zoomed out a bit there, that this will be placed around there. So now I can come into the shape string and come down and start typing around a ring and click off, and you'll see that text has gone around there. This means that I can also click on that sketch on surface and add thickness. So we come into the thickness and bring this up, say 2 millimeters, fill the faces. So that's true, and click off. And we can see when we come in that at the moment, because we got our lines in here, we need to actually remove those. So come into the map sketch, and that's take these lines. I don't really need them anymore, so I can delete those or even convert them to construction geometry. So delete those out of the way. And let's move this in place over that and hit close. And there we have the text going around in the circle that's been extruded. All we need to do now is hide the revolve, so we get the text there, and bring back the original extrude. And just do some adjustments on this extrude. So I can take that extrude, right click, transform, and bring this down and sit that upon there. So there we have it, fully parametric text using the shape string around a circle like this. The other thing to remember is that if we have something like a dome shape, then we can do the same process. So if I had a new document and come into the sketcher and we had along the XZ plane there, and we're going to add some curvature in here. So let's add a curve that's coming from here to here, like so, and take those 2 points, that point and that line, point on line constraint. I don't think that's connected there, so let's take that, connect that to there. So we've got basically that curve. If I revolve this over in the part workbench, doing a revolve through the Z axis, okay, we get this shape, and we'll add some thickness to it and fill that offset, and okay. So the same applies here. If I wanted to run the text, say just around here, I wouldn't use this surface. It'd be much more easier to come into the revolve and come into this sketch and just bring that sketch back and just hide the revolve. Look at this from, say, this side, the XZ side, and we'll create another sketch along the XZ plane. So that's add sketch along the XZ plane. Okay, we'll bring in this arc, link that to external geometry. We'll create an arc now. So endpoint and render point arc, connect those up. Just bring that above, don't make it tangent, otherwise it's going to connect to this arc and the points will probably fly over to the left. And we'll adjust that and see if we can adjust this. And just pull this out. I'm going to constrain these 2 points so they have a distance. So around 15. Therefore now I can pull on this one. If I can't pull on this one, what I can do is come up to this one and pull this down. So what I'm trying to do is make this basically match this line here, or near enough. So I've got that there. If I hit close, with that sketch now I'll do a revolve part and then do the revolve through the Z axis, direction Z. Okay. And then I can use this rather than the original revolve, this one here, to sketch upon. So I can use that over in the curves workbench and go through the same process as what I did before. So sketch on surface, map sketch, and then basically delete, come in, delete this. And we can add our construction geometry. And we'll just put something in here for the time being, like so, and hit close. Therefore I'll get that around there, then I can take the edge, find out its length, so I can come up here, find out the length, 757, transfer that back to the sketch, and then do the same with the text, place this text upon here. That means I'm only dealing with this rather than the revolve. Then I can boolean those back in with each other. That makes life a lot easier when you're building such models as this. Just taking the small part, using that and booleaning that back into the surface. So we'll just place a text across here, add it to the extra objects, and that'll get mapped across this object. So that's one way, if you've got, rather than a ring, this dome shaped feature, they can place text around there. So I hope that's helped. I hope that's answered a few questions. That's how I would actually do text around a ring or on a surface. But by doing this, we're reducing the amount of processing power and making our life a lot easier, our workflow a lot easier to follow. Hope you enjoyed that video, and I'll see you again soon. If you like what you're seeing, please subscribe to the site. I also have a Ko-Fi or a coffee site that you can donate to if you so desire, and that's at ko-fi.com/MANG0. I also run a Patreon where you can subscribe and get extra content, and that's at www.patreon.com/MangoJellySolutions. Any money that's kindly donated will be used to expand the channel. Thanks a lot for watching and subscribing, and I'll see you again soon. But reducing the amount of processing power just by using that's my dinner.